Are there things that the city can do immediately?
There are, and what's really hopeful about this financial task force work is, number one, we verified with a group of citizen experts that a lot of what we were doing was actually on the right track. And these are folks from every side of the political spectrum, from every kind of background, mostly almost entirely from the private sector, telling us, yeah, the kinds of things we're working on are validated as issues and also are things we need to work on. So there are some short-term things we can do right away, but the real big things in here, as I've said for many, many years, require meaningful tax reform. And that meaningful tax reform has to come from the provincial government. And some of my colleagues are scared of that. And they say, oh, no new taxes. But listen, I've said it before and I'll say it over and over and over again. Any dollar we get in new revenue sources, we will spend a dollar less from property taxes, and we need to reduce our reliance on the unfair property tax. And in fact, that's a very conservative thing, so I'm surprised that some members of my council seem to be so scared of it.
So of that menu of possible taxes, are any of them in the municipal scope right now, or do you need changes for all of them?
No, pretty much none of them are. There may be a couple of very minor things, but pretty much none of them are. But this really is a plea to the government of Alberta to say, let's modernize how cities work and get rid of our reliance on the feudal property tax.
What about subclasses, creating different subclasses?
Now, subclasses is really important because the problem that we've had with the tax shift has very much been about the lack of ability to protect the small businesses. So every time we make a phase tax program, 80% of it goes to large multinational firms. And so if we could figure out a way to target and have a lower tax rate for small business, I think that would be very helpful. The current legislation is just too blunt, it doesn't work, and it still wouldn't get us where we need it to be.
So the city can't do that on its own?
No, we only have the opportunity right now to do it for businesses fewer than 50 employees with no discretion. So you look at, for example, Chinook Centre, it's our largest taxpayer. They could easily restructure the administration of Chinook Centre to be fewer than 50 employees, meaning that our largest taxpayer would gain the benefit of small business tax rates. They would never do that, but we need to actually try and fix this.
Can you speak a bit about the problem that influence taxes?
Yeah, Recommendation 31 was the only thing in there that kind of stuck out to me, and it said, have a preference for tax stability over service stability. In other words, keep your taxes the same and flex the level of services that are offered. That really doesn't work in the municipal context. 75% of what we spend money on are police, fire, 911, transit, and roads. And so we can't say to people this year, because there was less business in the downtown, we're going to lay off police officers or firefighters, or we're not going to fill any potholes. It just doesn't make any sense. And so the challenge with property taxes, it's so inflexible, so that if somebody had a bad year, your property taxes could go up to provide you with the same level of service. And that is a problem, yes. But I think that telling people this year we're just going to not have any public parks or not have any rec centers open because we had a problem in the downtown core, I don't think citizens will stand for that.
Is multi-year assessment or multi-year assessment averaging something you need provincial help with?
Yes, it is. The province requires us to do annual assessments. The recommendations did say stick with the annual assessments but investigate multi-year flattening of the curve. I still think it's a good idea, but it would require the province to help.
What's the benefit of doing a multi-year, looking at assessments not every year?
Most years it won't make any difference, but what we've seen because of this tax shift that we've had is when we saw this giant shift in the assessment downtown where the assessment rate and the taxes plummeted and everyone else's taxes went up so much in return. That would avoid that. That would at least spread that over some years. You know, the phase tax program, the over $200 million that we've spent to shelter businesses from this, we wouldn't have had to do that because the change would have been just more gradual. In other words, the downtown taxes wouldn't have fallen so quickly and everyone else's wouldn't have risen so quickly. Well, you know, the deadline is tomorrow, as a matter of fact. It reminds me, I should pay my property taxes today. So we'll have a better sense next week. And I should remind people of that the deadline to pay your property taxes is, as always, June 30th. That said, If that's just too much pressure on you right now and you don't have the cash right now, you can pay up to September 30th without interest or penalty.
So I take it you have to literally let the smoke clear on June 30th to know if
That's
the city
right.
has a
That's
big
right.
financial
A
problem.
very large number of people. In fact, I'll look around and see if there's a queue of people paying their taxes. In fact, there is. A very large number of people, including me, often paid on the last couple of days, so we won't know until that's done.
And you're not on tips? You should be on tips, shouldn't you?
Well, as I learned from the financial task force today, they're really encouraging us to go on tips, but I'll let you in on a little secret. This is my one time in the year, maybe not this year, where I get to go and spend time with the hardworking people on the third floor and talk to them and see how their day is going while I pay my taxes, and I kind of like that personal contact.